What's up everybody, Meowth here. Today we've got a little bit of an exciting video because the unnerfs are finally here. 3 weeks after they announced what they were going to be, we're finally getting them. The wait is over. 36 cards getting unnerfed for the wild format, and it's pretty damn exciting. It's going to be a pretty huge shakeup. So in today's video, I've got 14 decks that I'm going to be talking to you all about, and these are the decks that I'm the most excited to play once the unnerfs hit tomorrow. So just a disclaimer about these decks, they are not including any of the cards from the new expansion or the core set. They're only cards that I will be able to be playing with on Thursday. Yeah, so we might be leaving out a couple of decks because of that, right? Stuff like Aggro Priest, or some specific types of Paladin or Hunter. We're going to be leaving out because they've got some pretty significant upgrades coming next week. So these are just the decks that I am the most excited to play with on Thursday. Of course, I didn't touch all of these. Like, I could have just spent an entire video with like 10 decks to play for Hunter because Starving Buzzard's back. But I tried to split up at least a couple decks for each class. And so I hope you guys enjoy what I've got going on for you guys today. And if you guys do, just remember to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. It does support me a ton. Alright, let's go ahead and dive into these decks. Alright, so the first deck that I want to talk to you guys today about is Demon Hunter. So Demon Hunter, like the super low curve Demon Hunter, is a deck that a lot of people don't really take seriously for some reason or another. But it's actually a pretty good deck according to the latest VS report. A deck that you shouldn't be sleeping on. And getting some unnerfs with stuff like Leper Gnome, and Undertaker, and Albatross that make me want to try out some of these new 1-drops for like nice additions, nice twists, some more snowbally effects to help out odd Demon Hunter in some of its worst matchups like Reno Priest with the bird. So again, the major additions here from the unnerfs, we're getting the package basically of Leper Gnome, Undertaker, and Albatross, and then we do get to add in Urzel Horror, one of the, I believe, classic set of Demon Hunter, like the core set. It's a 1-mana 2/1 death rattle added 2/1 to your hand, which I think works really, really nicely. And of course, you have the other traditional snowbally minions with Battle Fiend, Lowly Squire, and Sidekick. I did have to make some cuts. I really wanted to fit an Og Merchant in this deck somehow. And so you can either cut the Albatross if you really want to, or you can feel free to cut the Mana Burns. I really like the Mana Burns though, so I wasn't really sure what to cut. But I think the Og Merchants are the 31st or 32nd cards in this deck. But yeah, I mean, I really like playing the super low curve 1-drop Demon Hunter, except for when I draw Baku off a Stilt Stepper, which happens all the time, which is very annoying. But yeah, I mean, I think that the Demon Hunter deck in general is a deck that's very slept on and should be playing more of it. And now let's get to the class that I am personally the most excited about because we have Starving Buzzard. It gives Hunters something good in our format, which is awesome. So the first Hunter deck, again, like I said, there are probably like 7 or 8 decks that I could talk to you guys about. I only picked 2. So the first Hunter deck I have for you guys is Beast Hunter. Yeah, so this is your traditional Beast Hunter with Master's Call, Kill Commands, Tundra Rhinos, all that kind of good stuff. That kind of relies on Crackling Razormaw and Hyena. And now you have a draw engine to support that deck with Starving Buzzard. Starving Buzzard with stuff like Alley Cat and Wolpertinger is just like absolutely freaking insane. I don't think you guys realize like how powerful that engine is. And this deck, believe it or not, even before the Starving Buzzard unnerf, was actually low-key competitive. I played this deck multiple times in High Legend Ladder, averaging about 50-55% win rates. Like the worst matchup for these decks are Reno. Like Reno Priest, and now you have the ability to run the Albatross in the deck, and which helps you in that matchup. And then you have a ton of draw for refill against stuff like Big Priest or Reno Locks. And so I'm actually looking forward to seeing what the potential of this deck is. And the other Hunter deck that I have for you guys is Secret Hunter. So Secret Hunter, the ability to play Buzzard and then something like Petting Zoo or Spellstone and draw 4 or 5 cards is kind of appealing, but also just the ability to help draw through your deck, right, with the Buzzard, the Alley Cat, the Wolpertinger, to make those secret turns even more explosive. Again, Secret Hunter was actually a tier 2 deck for a long time until Secret Mage kind of pushed it out of the metagame, Secret Mage and Reno Priest. Tell me if you've heard that story before. But yeah, I mean, very similar to the Beast Hunter builds. Secret Hunter, I think these are the 2 most competitive archetypes for Hunter. And Starving Buzzard fits greatly within those archetypes, and so I'm really excited to try this out. Of course, you have other archetypes like Odd Hunter and Reno Hunter, and I'm sure a billion other Hunter archetypes that are getting buffed. with Buzzard, but I didn't want to make a 20-minute video just on Hunter. I wanted to share the love, so I won't be covering those, but I'll definitely be playing them on my stream later this week if you are interested. Alright, moving into the next class, we've got Mage. Mage got a couple of unnerfs, but it really only impacted one deck, and luckily for me, it just happens to be one of the decks that I is my favorite of all time. LPG Mage, getting huge buffs with Dragoncaster and Dragon Queen Alexstrasza getting unnerfed. And so what I have on the screen is my version of LPG. That really is going to revolve around the dragons, right? You really want to get the Dragoncaster on 5 or 6 to get that Pocket Galaxy, play all the 1-mana minions, get the crap tons of value. I will say we aren't running the new Alexstrasza yet, right? Because it's not out, but that is a card that I feel like will fit perfectly within this deck. What I'm cutting for it, I don't know yet, but I need to fit it in here because it's perfect. But yeah, this is the deck you can catch me playing. Probably the first deck I'm going to be playing when the unnerfs go live. I love me some LPG Mage. I love me some dragons. They go perfectly together. Really excited to play this one. Alright, moving into Paladin. So Paladin's getting Call to Arms unnerfed, and Call to Arms is insanely busted. I'm excited to see how it holds up in the current wild metagame. Again, this is another class that I could have probably done like 6 or 7 decks on, but I had to decide on 2. So the 2 that I have for you guys first, these are decks that are not getting significant additions with the new set where some of the other Paladin decks are, so that's why I'm focusing on these guys first. So first up we have Even Paladin. Even Paladin, historically, one of the strongest decks in Standard. Never really got the chance to take off in Wild because Call to Arms kind of got gutted before we got to completely explore Even Paladin's potential. But the combination of Valinir and Saturnight Chain Gang is something that you have to love to see. Call to Arms with Knife Juggler pulling 2/6 taunts and Divine Shields and all that kind of good stuff. Corpse Taker synergy with Wind Fury with Crab Rider. And then the Blessing of Kings and Hand of a Doll synergies with these Wind Fury minions and Divine Shield minions. I'm excited to play some Even Paladin. I know it's just kind of a very straightforward deck, but it's a deck that never really got the chance to shine in Wild, and so I'm really excited to see, what's its true potential in our format. And the other Paladin deck that I want to talk to you guys about is just good old Aggro Paladin, right? Aggro with the eggs, and literally this deck is all about high rolling, getting out explosive boards, hitting the opponent in the face before they have the time to react, and with stuff like eggs and injured Tolviers and Divine Shields, it makes the board really, really awkward to remove. And so yeah, I mean, this is kind of the same package or mindset of, Aggro Paladin of old, with Thekal Moltens, and then Call to Arms with good stuff, and then anything that's 6, you hit it with Blessing of Might and Blessing of Kings, and you hit him in the face. And then you have a couple of stuff like Keeper of Uldaman and Tarim to buff up any tokens or small minions that might survive moving into turn 5, turn 6, proving that you have threats no matter what throughout the game. Yeah, so this is the deck. This was the deck that was like the best deck in the format back when Paladin kind of dominated Wild for a bit with format Call to Arms. And I'm excited to see, again, does this deck hold up in 2021 instead of 2019 when this was originally a deck. So excited for these 2 decks. Again, a billion Paladin decks that I could have talked about, and I will be playing a ton of Paladin decks once the new expansion hits and we get some new cards, but for now I'm focusing on these 2. Alright, moving into Priest. So the one Priest deck I want to talk about is Inner Fire Priest. Inner Fire Priest getting back Power Word Shield, the ability to draw cards, which is super exciting. I lean towards the Dragon build just because Dragons are OP, Dustbreaker is OP, Draconid Operative is OP, Cleric of Scales is OP, and then I really like the Cleric of Scales with the Raised Deads and the Dustbreakers, a very, very strong draw engine, as well as the ability to get multiple Dustbreakers against aggro. I'm a big fan of it, and I'm going to be trying out the Inner Fire Priest. I don't know. I'm going to go ahead and put this out there. I don't know, and I don't think that Power Word Shield helps this deck enough, but it is definitely the ability to play old Inner Fire Priest is appealing enough for me to want to try it out this weekend once the unnerfs hit. All right, moving into Rogue. So let's go ahead and talk about the big one, Quest Rogue. Quest Rogue getting unnerfed. Quest Rogue is a deck that is extremely weird in theory and in practice, to be completely honest with you. And so a couple notable things about this list. We're getting Stone Tusk Boar as a 1/1 charge minion back in Wild. They're not changing it. They're letting us keep it. And as a result, what we get to do is we get to do the cute thing of running Captain's Parrot to tutor our Flybooter, and just 2 Flybooters, right? Flybooter with 1 Shadow Step or drawing both Flybooters allows us to complete our quest with the 2 minions that it gives us. And so, yeah, the rest of it is just good stuff. Target Dummy is the kind of alternate way of completing the quest. 0 mana bounces, more mana efficient. Bouncing Glacial Shards, obviously awesome. Questing Explorer is the perfect turn to play the majority of the time, as well as drawing as a card. You can mess around with Questing Adventure versus Licensed Adventure, the 3-2 that gives you a coin. Just because now that Prep is nerfed, the ability to get out that 5 mana quest reward as fast as possible is super important. And then I'm going to steal a tech from Corbett and Hijo. Give them a little bit of credit for this one. Derailed Coaster. So what this minion is, it's a 5 mana 3-2. So it'll be a 5 mana 5-5 that summons a 1-1 for each minion in your hand. And so ideally, you'll have like 4 or 5, maybe 6 minions in your hand. And so this is 5 mana. Make a board full of 5/5s with Rush. Sounds pretty powerful. And so definitely excited to try out this spicy tech that was found by those two. Again, I don't think Quest Rogue is going to be tier 1, tier 2 because of the amount of aggro in our format, but who knows, right? Quest Rogue is a very weird deck, and it has proven to be, very resilient in the face of what many people thought were unfavorable matchups. And so I'm excited to have this back. It's going to be very annoying to lose to, but it's a very unique deck, so I'm very happy to have it back. A deck that I'm not really excited to have back is, or a card rather, is Aggro Apothecary. So what I have for you guys is Aggro Rogue. And so literally this is very similar to the Hooked Scimitar versions of the deck that you guys saw maybe a month or two ago if you were playing on Legend Ladder in NA. But basically this is literally just all-out aggro, pirates, cannons, raiding party, but instead of drawing scimitars, you're actually now drawing Necreum Blade. And what Necreum Blade does is it'll help you activate your Necreum Apothecary, which when activated for 4 mana, will pull the Scrapyard Colossus from your deck, which will summon a 7/7 taunt to protect your pirates and also hit face. So this is like Hyrule Rogue, very similar to like Thekel Moltens, right? If you have the Apothecary on 4 or 3, it's kind of game winning. It's very disgusting. Again, I'm going to hate losing to this, but I'm okay with this being strong because it might show Blizzard, hey, nerf this thing. This is stupid. We don't need another 4 mana Barnes. Please, go away. No way. No thanks. Alright, now moving into Shaman. These are the 2 of the decks that I'm also really excited to try out. First one that we have is Even Shaman. So Even Shaman is losing Spell Power Totem, yes, but Strength Totem is actually even better for Even Shaman if we're being completely honest. So excited to see how Strength Totem does in this deck, especially in combination with Flame Tongue Totems. We're getting Flame Tongue Totem back to 2 mana. It will be a 0/2. So yeah, I'm excited. The totem copying build, Snowball with Flame Tongue Totems, it'll be good stuff. I will be trying out, so you might be wondering what the hell is Landslide. Because we're not running Spell Power Totem, the Maelstrom Portal gets a little bit worse. And so to trade off for the random 1-drop, which we might not need because we have a bunch of the totems that we want snowballing anyways, I'm trying out Landslide. I know we only have double Crackle and double Totem Golem, but against other aggressive decks, it might be relevant enough. So I'll be just testing that out. It's a little bit of spice that I'm messing around with. And the other Shaman deck, let's go ahead and talk about. We have to talk about Galakron Shaman. Of course, this is the deck that got gutted because of standard. Yeah, it's big oof, but I'm really excited for this one. So the way that I've built this deck is around a Spirit of the Frog draw engine in the early game. So you have your Lightning Blooms for the 0-cost cards, you have the Invocations of Frost for 1, you have the Portals for 2, Portal for 3, Torrent for 4, which will hopefully only cost you 1 mana. That will draw you your Dragon's Pact, that'll hopefully be 5 mana 5/6s with taunts. And then your late game end win con is Shadowwalk. And the way that this is going to work is instead of going for your infinite Grumble, Life Drinker kind of package, what you do is you play the Serenet Chain Gangs, and then you play Barista. So hopefully your Shadowwalks will duplicate themselves, and then you can Barista the Shadowwalks back to your hand. So you basically get infinite boards of Shadowwalks plus Elementals with the opponent under a Loatheb effect, and so it's a very, very effective way to end the game. I'm a big fan of Quest Shaman and these kind of grindy value Shaman decks anyways, and so of course Galakron Shaman right on my alley, and I feel like it's going to be up many of y'all's alleys as well. So excited for Galakron Shaman, excited to mess around with it again in Wild because we only got like a week or 2 of it. And then the other one is Q-Block. So Q-Block, the big addition is the Bad Luck Albatross. Birdlock, locking out the Arena Priest opponents, which is going to be amazing. And the addition of Drain Soul is going to be nice. I'm going to be messing around with it before the core set a little bit. Of course, if you want to not run Drain Soul, you can run some Zilliaxes or second merchants in the meantime if you don't think that the 2 mana deal 2 drain soul is strong enough. But the ability to replace Mistress of Mixtures with Armor Bender just makes Zoth even better. So I mean, Key Block, it's been a while since Key Block's been back in the metagame. Excited to mess around with it a ton. Alright, moving into Warrior, two decks left. Galakrond Warrior, we're getting 3 mana Scion of Ruin back. The way that I decided to take Galakrond Warrior was all about copying Scions of Ruin and playing millions and millions and millions of them a game. It's very simple. So basically, you want to draw the Scions of Ruin as soon as possible, right? We have Double Town Crier. We've got, just good old Galakrond Warrior good stuff, right? Alex Trust's Champion, all the Invokes, Brand, Warmod Challenger. You got Polkelt so that you can draw your Galakrond as soon as possible. And essentially, what you are trying to do is you have Dragon Breeders with the Brand, and you have Barista, so that you have the ability, every time you Barista, like you play Scion of Ruin, and then you Barista, you get 3 more Scions of Ruin that each summon 3. It's kind of disgusting. Excited to mess around with it. This is a much more mid-rangey version, I think, of Galakrond Warrior than the traditional face builds that you have seen with a lot of pirates. But I do think that this one still has some potential, and I'm excited to mess around with this one as well. And last but not least, Enraged Warrior, Charge Warrior is back. We're getting the combo potential of Charge. Instead of playing Worgens, we're going to play Crab Riders, because on their own, Crab Riders are a little bit better. And so this deck is literally just the Risky Skipper package, right? It's got the good stuff of Rover, Risky, Town Crier, Acolyte of Pains, Ankars, Bear, Blood Boil Brood, Battle Rage, that whole package of like 16 cards that's just really, 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 really strong in our format. And we get the additional win condition of the Crab Riders and the Bloodstorm Mercenaries with 1 billion damage. I think the max damage is, 32, 36, something like that, 42. Don't remember the math off the top of my head. So, of course, stuff like Taunt will get in your way, and it's going to be very annoying playing against stuff like Q-Block. But it's actually be very, very strong against aggro and have a decent chance against Arena Priest as well, as long as you can dodge a Lucia. Yeah, I mean, Worgen Warrior was one of my favorite decks in Standard back in the day, and so I'm excited to try out this new modern take on Charge Warrior. Alright guys, and that's going to be it for my 14 decks that I have theory crafted for these unnerfs. These are the decks that I'm the most excited to play with. If you guys are interested in any of these, you can find the deck codes down in the description below. Just make sure you guys click show more and you'll see all that information. I hope you guys are looking forward to the unnerfs as much as I am. And if you guys are looking forward to theory crafts for the new expansion coming out next week, make sure you guys click that subscription button and hit that notification bell so that you guys get notifications on when that theory crafting video goes live later this week. Yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope you guys enjoy the wild meta once these unnerfs hit, and I will see you guys next time. Later.